Hello, I'm Alexander Jeffrey, a law clerk with the Clark-Esposito law firm PC, and welcome back to another discussion about export compliance. Today, we will be speaking specifically about Cuban exports and regulations that are regulated by OFAC, the Office of Foreign Assets Control. It is very well known that Cuba is essentially embargoed by the United States, meaning that there is no free trade between United States entities and Cuban entities. But there are special circumstances in which U.S. entities may be able to export goods to Cuban entities. OFAC has a set of regulations specifically for Cuba called the Cuban Assets Control Regulations. These regulations outline specific sanctions programs in Cuba and also speak about general licenses that are needed to export to Cuba. Even though it may seem very straightforward, it is very convoluted, in fact, because most government officials and governmental entities are actually sanctioned in Cuba. And being that how Cuba is structured, most of the businesses there are affiliated with the government. The first step to understanding how to conduct business in Cuba is to actually understand how US nationals are allowed to go to the country. There are actually 12 general authorizations that US nationals can use to visit the country, but the most important ones are journalistic activity, professional research, educational activities, humanitarian projects, and lastly, family visits. Even though US nationals may be traveling to the country, they may be traveling under circumstances that are not compliant with the OFAC exportation laws. Given that, it is very important that companies that interact with US nationals that go into Cuba and offer some type of service or some type of good to these nationals actually have the nationals sign an attestation form to say that they are in Cuba for compliant reasons. The next and much more complicated approach to conducting business in Cuba is participating in one of the support programs that are meant to build the infrastructure in the country. These programs are very specific and outline specifically who you can export to, what exports can be sent, and in what industry those exports can be used for. But on top of these guidelines, you also have the very specific guidelines of not interacting with governmental agencies, as well as those individuals that may be sanctioned. A recent example of one of these programs was the supporting the Cuban people's right to seek, receive, and impart information through the safe and secure access to the internet. This program was instituted after Cuban nationals rose up against the government to challenge many governmental institutions. This program introduced many general licenses, including the following: software and services for Cuban internet users, establishment of telecommunications facilities, in-country presence of internet and telecommunication providers, and other related structural systems, trainings, and materials. These approaches to conducting business in Cuba may seem very straightforward, but in fact, because many businesses are tied to the government infrastructure, the actual implementation is very difficult. Some exporters may choose to use a special license, but this process will add another complicated layer to an already complicated process of conducting compliant business in Cuba. Are you curious about how travel authorizations for Cuba actually work and are granted? Do you think you need help interpreting and learning more about the support programs that are offered for Cuba? Do you think that you may have an issue in the future? If so, contact us at the number listed or at contact@clarkespositolaw.com. We'd love to hear about your business.
Subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll be the first to know when we upload a new video. Check out our playlist if you want to see more of our videos, and comment below and introduce yourself. We'll see you soon.